Hello everybody from Chamonix in France in the European Alps. I've been attending a conference on geopolitics, geoeconomics, fascinating gathering of folks discussing the state of global affairs. I've been sharing my diagnosis of the state of affairs. I've been saying for a number of years now this issue of the questioning of the international liberal order, not just from outside because of the rise of illiberal powers, non-democratic powers like China, but also from within the democratic world, how democracies themselves are becoming weaker and are being hollowed out from within because of the rise of polarized politics and its effects on our institutions and the way we run our countries. And the reason, this driver of implosion of liberalism and democracy from within seems to me to be now a fairly structured movement that goes well beyond the politics. If you look at the field of philosophy, for example, we had recently at IE Madrid, we had Michael Sandel, the Harvard philosopher, who's just recently published a book titled The Tyranny of Merit, where he questions the essence of merit. He says that success in many instances, including in the Harvard admissions process, is not a consequence of merit, it's a consequence of privilege deploying its effects, of privileged individuals doing well academically, doing well in extracurricular activities, and hence being admitted in some of the top schools, then going ahead and doing extremely well professionally and otherwise. Now, if we question this concept, if this is indeed a hijacked society, it's been a captured society by the elites and those in privileged positions, then the whole legitimacy of the social edifice really begins to crumble. But it's not just the questioning of merit. If you look at some of the social movements that we are seeing in our world today, very much fed by postmodernist thinking, critical thought, constructivist ideas, is sort of the hollowing out of the meaning of some concepts, including gender, the family, the legitimacy of property. Even scientific truth is being hollowed out in some places, because the thesis is there is violence, there is force and structure in these concepts, and we need to void them of that meaning. Now, of course, and substituted by what? There are truly some anti-enlightened elements to part of this movement that we're seeing, this anti-truth movement within our societies. And of course, the economics, in the field of economics, we see immense fractures, trends of fracture, huge inequality, huge signs of social pain, life expectancy plummeting in the US. Of course, the fentanyl and opioid crisis. The US is probably going to hit about 100,000 deaths this year from opioid substance abuse, which is an extraordinary sign of social and economic pain. And ultimately, the politics of all of this, the rise of polarized politics, the rise of politics of questioning democracy and democratic institutions from within, which we're seeing around the world. So if you take all of these notes, what happens in the US, in Europe, in France, in Germany, in Spain, in Poland, in Hungary, there is a concert emerging, a symphony of disorder. So we seem to be living in a pre-revolutionary moment. And I think it is interesting that I'm sharing this with you from the Alps. It feels a bit like the Thomas Mann novel, The Magic Mountain. We're in this spa in the mountains, and in the valley that is the world, there are rumblings of immense change, of immense upending. And all of this, by the way, in a society that has managed to create immense wealth in the aggregate. So this is a huge failure of collective intelligence, that we are unable to build a more equitable and sustainable society is truly a failure of intelligence. So we're trying to figure out here and in other places how to put forward what policy content needs and initiatives need to be put forward for these fractures to be closed, and for our societies to go back to a point of equilibrium for everybody. So thank you for listening. Bye-bye.